What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports, where we're talking some Flyers today, and they recently just wrapped up their preseason against the Boston Bruins yesterday, beating them 4-1. And the star of that game is Brian Elliott. He had a really good game, especially in the second period. He really solidified that starting role for the Flyers this season after a shaky couple starts in the preseason and training camp. So now the main question is what is this final roster going to look like going into Las Vegas on Thursday? So recently, today, the Flyers made 3 roster cuts. They sent down 2 defensemen. They sent down Mark Friedman and top defensive prospect Phil Myers. And they also today sent down top goaltender prospect Carter Hart, where everyone expected Carter Hart to make the team this season because of all the shakiness with Brian Elliott and Michael Neuwirth. Everyone expected Hart to at least make the team as a backup this season. And in my opinion, Hart should have been down in the AHL to begin with. Like, he looked really good in preseason, but I prefer him with the AHL just to get his season down there so he can get used to pro hockey as a starter, not coming up to the NHL where he's playing as a backup, because he's not really going to get much time as a backup. And now, after those sent downs, we got probably one more cut left for this Flyers team. It's most likely going to be a forward. So we got the roster right here after those 3 players that got cut. So right now in the forwards, we got Couturier, Giroux, Konechny, Lawton, Lindblom, Nolan Patrick, Raffl, JVR, Simmons, Voracek, Vorobiev, and Wheel. And the final 3 forwards are Lear, Weiss, and Laterra. And one of those 3 players are going to get cut or sent down to the Phantoms. So I expect Lear to stay with his team because he's a good player coming off the bench. And then Dale Weiss is Dale Weiss. You really can't explain anything about him. And Juri Laterra, with all the news of him being a part of this cocaine ring out back in Finland. So right now I'm just hoping Laterra gets cut from the team because he's not the Laterra that was on St. Louis anymore. So now with the defense, we got Provorov, we got Gostisbehere, Sanheim, Haig, Andrew McDonald, Radko Gudas, and Foley, who they just recently signed in the offseason. We all know that Provorov and Ghost are the top defensive pairing for this team. And then we got Sanheim, who's an up-and-coming, played a majority of the season last season. And hopefully he's going to be getting those top 4 minutes because Sanheim has a lot of potential to become like that, maybe 30 to 50 point defenseman to get those points. And then the goaltenders, we got Brian Elliott, who's most likely going to be the starter. You got the injured Michael Neuwirth. It's no news with him. He's constantly getting injured. And then we got Anthony Stolarz, who I believe should have been back up from the start. Like, before Michael Neuwirth even got signed to that 2-year deal. I know Stolarz got injured like that two seasons ago during like the 2016-17 season. He should have been the backup, but then he got injured, so that's mainly the reason why Neuwirth got signed to that 2-year deal. And then, I believe Stolarz is still a capable NHL goaltender. Two years ago, when he was first called up, when Neuwirth got injured, it's always when Neuwirth gets injured. Stolarz looked really good in the games that he played. Yeah, some games were shaky, but he looked really good. Like, he does have to improve his game a little bit. He's got to play to his size instead of playing lower than his size. Like, sometimes he plays too small for his size. And then, I think Stolarz and Elliott could be a decent tandem until Neuwirth eventually comes back, because when Neuwirth comes back, they're going to send Stolarz down, or if Stolarz proves himself, he can beat Neuwirth for that backup role. So, the forward group, I expect hopefully Laterra to get cut, but that might be a different story because he did have a good game in Boston with 2 assists, and he did look really good on the penalty kill, and honestly. But Hextall, he's going to give an announcement tomorrow, probably who's going to be cut from the roster, because they're going out to Colorado for a team building exercise, and then they're going to go off to Las Vegas. So these are the projected lineups going into the season. We got the first line, we got Giroux, Couturier, and Konechny. That was a great first line from last year, going from December on to the finishing of the year. It really boosted Travis Konechny's confidence, and I think that first line is very solid. We got Couturier at 30 goals, who had a standout year last year, Selke nominee. He had a 30-goal season, and Claude Giroux, the MVP of this team. He had career highs in points, assists, and goals. So Giroux hoping to build off that season. We got the second line. Second line on left wing is a question because it's JVR and Lindblom. Because once we signed JVR to that 5-year deal, everyone expected JVR to be on the second line. But over the course of preseason, JVR, he got 1 goal. And over the course of practices, it's been a switch between him and Lindblom on the second line. But then on the second line, besides the left wing, would be Patrick and Voracek, which, they're great. They got a chemistry. That's what they have. And then on the third line, it's going to be that either JVR and Lindblom. And then you got Mikhail Vorobiev, who has really shown himself in his training camp and preseason that he deserves to be the third line center of this team. He's a very underrated prospect for this organization. He's a great passer. Every time I've seen him in game, he's passing the puck so much, and he knows where to pass it to. He knows how to get assists. I feel like he could be that, silent, point scorer on that third line. Then you got Wayne Simmons, who's looking to come off his injury season last year. He did score 20 goals last year, but it was filled with injury. And then hopefully he comes up to this season healthy and he can get back to that 30-goal mark we all know and love. And then the fourth line, it's really questionable. But you got the two definite points on the fourth line are Walton and Ravel. It's just that question is who plays the center on that fourth line. And I think it's going to be Jordan Weal. Because I still think Jordan Weal deserves a shot playing on the fourth line. Yeah, so then you got Lier, Weiss, and Leterre as the bench players, but you got to send one of them down or just cut one of those players. So I still think it's going to be either Weiss or Leterre getting cut, because Lear's young. He still has potential to be a good fourth-line, third-line player. Yeah. And then you got the goaltenders with Elliott, Stolarz, and the injury-prone Michael Neuvirth. I still think Stolarz can beat Neuvirth for that backup role. When Neuvirth comes back from his injury, he's not going to be ready for opening night and the home opener. So, who knows? Maybe Stolarz can just beat him there. Yeah. And that's basically it for the Flyers. I expect them to be better this season than they were last year. Got upgraded offense from JVR, and we got the up-and-coming Vorobiev, who's going to be really good at third-line center, I believe, for this team. And I think the Flyers are going to be a really good team this year, honestly. They're not going to hover around the wild card spot in the third place. I think they're going to hover around second, third place this year. Who knows? Maybe even first place. I promise you there won't be 10-game losing streaks this year. Even though we made the playoffs last season, there's not going to be that 10-game stretch of losing, winning, blah, 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 all that. So, yeah. So, leave a comment in the description. What do you believe this roster for the Flyers should be, and what do you think the lines are going to be? And just comments and opinions about the Flyers in general. Yeah, basically, Instagram and Twitter are in the description, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next video, guys.